And let me first just commend the ICE agents who every day put their lives on the line, and particularly those serving under very dangerous conditions in Mexico. And to the ranking member, I agree we need more resources. And I think, we talked to our friend Judge Ricardo Hinojosa, and he'll tell you that not only do we need more agents, we need more judges and prosecutors. As a former federal prosecutor, I understand the concept of prosecutorial discretion. It's nothing new, and prosecutors exercise it every day, and they have to. And you have to look at violent crime versus nonviolent crime. So I understand all that. What I was confused about was when this policy came out, and it caused some controversy. I think a lot of my constituents view it as an amnesty program. I think most of my constituents do not agree with the amnesty. But what was confusing was the New York Times reports that administration's officials said, in commenting on this new policy, that those who qualify for relief can apply for admission to work in the United States and will probably receive it. So call this whatever you want. But when administration officials say that through the New York Times, it appears to me that the administration is saying, look, if you're a non-criminal alien, we're just going to allow you to stay in the United States, and beyond that, we'll let you apply for work permits. So it has the appearance of the administration in a backdoor way is pushing a guest worker or amnesty program, call it what you want, but allowing illegal aliens to stay in the country and apply for work permits. So, Mr. Kibble, I asked at a prior hearing a Homeland Security official this very question, and he couldn't answer it. Can you tell me if this is the policy of this administration?
Well, sir, as you acknowledged, the discretion is something that goes back decades. With respect to the particular application in this group, the working group that's been established, including both senior professionals from both the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice, are working on criteria to go through what amounts to roughly 300,000 active cases that are on the immigration court docket. And as they look at as they go through that, they're going to be looking to exercise discretion, and we anticipate that it will be very narrow. We anticipate that
my time's limited, and I understand that. I understand prioritizing the criminal cases. As the ranking member said, we need to be careful about our messaging. Is it the policy of this administration to allow non-criminal aliens to stay in this country and apply for work permits?
No, that doesn't appropriately characterize the policy, sir. In fact, even through this process, if these cases, some of these cases that qualify for discretion, where we choose to exercise discretion, are set aside, first off, it's done on a case-by-case basis, a case-by-case individual.
So those that you choose not to prosecute, are they allowed to stay in the country and apply for work permits?
They can certainly apply for work authorization, but there is no automatic grant of work authorization.
But it is the policy of this administration that they can stay in the country and possibly apply for work permits.
The policy focuses more on unclogging the immigration court docket so that we can accelerate our high priority.
I get that. I understand all that, but it's a message that we're going to allow the non-criminal alien to stay in the country and apply for work permits. I think that's the core issue with this new policy, and I still haven't got a very clear answer to that. If Mohammed Atta, the leader of the hijackers, who had a non-criminal record, didn't have a criminal record, had overstayed his visa, if he was pulled over in a traffic stop, would he be let go and allowed to stay in the country and apply for a work permit?
No, sir, because our priorities extend to non-criminal immigration violators as well. So those presenting national security threats, again, if you just look at our removal numbers, roughly half of them are not considered criminal aliens.
So what would be the threshold for okay, you got non-criminal and criminal. What is the threshold then? He gets pulled over for a traffic stop. Is that enough to deport him? I don't think it is under your policy.
Sir, I can't speak to that particular case. I mean, every officer has been empowered with the ability to look at the merits of that particular case and exercise discretion at any point in the continuum. What we seek to do is to exercise it earlier, but I would tell you that our officers are very concerned about public safety, and in this case, you pose a national security example. And if we don't know what we have, we may choose to move forward if we establish that the alien is potentially removable, arrest them, look at biometrics, continue to develop information, and process that person for removal.
And let me just close by saying, I'm concerned about this from a national security standpoint as well. I hope you factor that in these cases. And then lastly, again, I don't know who these administration officials were that said this. And I haven't got a clear answer whether that is the policy of this administration. But I think that kind of statement from this administration really calls into question this policy. Prosecutorial discretion is nothing new, as you and I have talked about. But to say that they can stay in the country and apply for work permits, that goes a whole step farther and actually goes around, I think, the will of the Congress. And so with that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
The Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Clark.